Guess what, ladies and gentlemen? It's Winter Wonderland again. Hello and welcome to the channel. I am Stylosa and I am joined by the glorious,
We need to get
the
you
festive.
I'm going
the
to buy
festive.
you a Thesaurus
You know what?
for
No,
Christmas.
I'm going to do it now. Hang on.
Festive works. I like festive.
No.
I've got jingly
The
bells.
celebrated.
Celebrated. The celebrated one amongst many. Hello, let's get this introduction out of the way. And yes, it's Winter Wonderland. Again.
Yes. Hello. I kind of sniped you a bit there. I'm sorry. So Winter Wonderland again. Now, we know as 100% fact that this will be the same event as it was last year and the year before that. Well, no, I can't say the year before that because we got the Yeti thing last year, didn't we? But it's going to be the same event as last year because Jeff has confirmed this and he confirmed it at Blizzcon. That means that all we're probably going to get is a new menu screen which features the new skins. So it'll feature the heroes who've got whatever new skins. If it's the same menu screen as last year, I will be highly disappointed, but I don't think that'll happen because, I mean, it would have because I think Casual Hanzo got released, right? And then I remember the whole thing with his hair, they had to change, and there was Anna with the owl and all that good stuff. Anyway, so new menu screen. Same old music, which I don't mind because the music's quite festive and beautiful. We'll get new skins, of which I expect to see teasers of these skins leading up to the event, which we know is going to start on the 11th of December. We're going to get a map. Again, we know this because Blizzard have actually put this on Twitter. I say get a map, we're going to get a map that's sort of Christmasified. And this is Blizzard World. It's now a nighttime map, and it will have Christmas decorations all over it, which I'm kind of looking forward to seeing what they've done to the Diablo section. It could be pretty funny. And that's kind of it.
Yeah, it's one of those things that they announced a little while ago that they were moving sort of... we've had this throughout the year, right? That they've moved focused away from the events quite so much. So they're not really going in and developing like a ton of new game modes or exciting new things for the game modes. And like hats off to them, like Yeti Hunter, I think out of all the festive... Well, not festive, but all the game modes, all the special ones that come with events, I'd say Yeti Hunter is actually one of the more fun ones. Like... I'm gonna put a rock in this one!
That's my May impression, by the way.
Terrifying, truly.
Oh my god.
Sorry. Like that's especially with your laugh on top of it as well. Good lord, that'd be the worst. But yeah, Yeti Hunter. I like Yeti Hunter.
It's alright. Yeah, but you don't play it for hours, do you? Play it for like, what, 20 minutes?
Yeah.
Maybe? Am I being generous there?
I mean, it's kind of a bad sign, right? The biggest thing I remember with Winter Wonderland last year was really liking the menu screen, because Hanzo was getting pelted with a snowball to the face, right to the chops, and that made me very happy. And it was that the first time they introduced the dynamic menus, or was that the New Year event? No, the New Year event comes afterwards. So yeah, it was. I think this was the first time we had these dynamic menus.
Yeah.
They do look really cool. I mean, the cynic in me is like curious about how many legendary skins they're going to be releasing. Are they going to be trying to release more legendary skins because they know that loot boxes are going to be looked into, so they got to try and get that out as much as they can.
And also, they need more skins because you basically earn most of the skins anyway through playing the game. If you're anybody who's played Overwatch a decent amount since launch, you've pretty got most of the skins you want. Like I look at my the original account. And I'm like, I've got so many items on that account, it's just crazy. And there's skins which I just don't care about as well, which is another thing, right? Sometimes I'll look at these legendary skins, I'm like, well, that's fine. Like the Reinhardt skin from Summer Games. I don't actually personally like that skin, so I don't really care for it. It's not enough to make me go, oh my god, I've got to get loads of loot boxes and let's go. So maybe you combat that with more skins, but it's an interesting point, that is. You know, normally we get 7, don't we, legendary skins? There's 6 or 7, I think.
Yeah, I'm trying to look through like to get an exact number, but yes, like 6 or 7. But what people have tended to be saying, at least what I tend to hear, is oh well, there's more legendary skins. There's more like legendary and high tier loot in these events now than there used to be before, right? That they're pushing away from making epic skins and pushing more towards making more and more legendary skins, less sprays, less stuff like that, and a lot more of this high tier loot, quote unquote, that's going to be rarer in the loot boxes. And so that's sort of how they try and push you to get some of these loot boxes. I mean, like you said, if you've been playing Overwatch for a long time, like I know we both have, then you not only have probably most of the skins, but you also have a pile of coins. So if you see a skin that you really want, like
Yeah,
they
you
release
just get it. Yeah.
If they release something on the same tier as like Nutcracker Zen, then it's like, oh well, I know what I'm getting, right? Straight away.
Yeah. And it is sad that the epic skins are not really featured that much, because I mean, American McCree is an amazing skin. There are some really good epic level skins which are just, okay, they're only slight recolors and they've got little sort of I guess decals added to them or whatever. They're not total redesigns, but they can be quite good. I mean, maybe we do get epic skins. We don't actually know. I mean, they could be giving us epic skins, legendary skins, and other stuff.
Well, they did some good ones for Halloween. They did some really good ones for Halloween with the McCree skin. There's a really good Halloween McCree skin that's the epic
true,
skin.
yeah.
Like that one's really nice. But like some of the best skins around in my mind, like the Rose Tracer, for example, that's probably my favorite Tracer skin. The Chinese New Year one from like the first Chinese New Year event. That looks really good. Frostbite Farah, that's also one of the Christmas skins. Epic tier skin that it looks really, really good.
What the hell?
That's an epic skin.
I thought that was legendary.
No?
My God. That's, yeah. Well, there you go. Yeah.
I really like it. Like, and I think that stuff like just changing a few colors, maybe adding one or two cool effects to characters can just do a lot to enhance the characters because they're already good designs. Like, this is the question I try and ask myself when I'm looking at a skin is like, does it actually make the design cooler than it already is? Because there's some skins that kind of don't already do that. Like, Genji's a very difficult character to skin for because cyborg ninjas are cool anyway. So it's like, well, does this skin actually make him any cooler? And like some of the default skins, I think, for Genji, like the Bedouin skin, like the Arabic-looking ones.
Yeah.
Those look so good. Those look so good. So it's like very difficult to make those better, in my mind.
I mean, we know, guys, that we were going to get the same events this year, essentially, and that's what we've got. The big thing is, though, what happens next year, and at this time of year, we get the Christmas event, then we get the Chinese New Year or the Lunar New Year event pretty fast in relation to other events. So I'm hoping that event has more than just, well, capture the flag on a different map. Because didn't we get, was it Nepal last time or this year? Was it Nepal that was added to that? Because I think we had Lijiang originally, and then we got nighttime Nepal.
No, they added the new map, didn't they? They added the Thai map.
Oh shit! Yeah.
That doesn't get used for anything anymore.
I was going to say, yeah. See, that's another thing, right? It's like how much dev time has been used on that, which is something which is not exactly. How can I say this without sounding terrible? It's like not exactly something people were gagging for. It's like, yes, we need to capture the flag map because loads of people play capture the flag. I mean, maybe loads of people do, but I mean, from my experience, that's not really the case. People jump into it and mess about, but because sometimes it comes up, doesn't it, on the arcade rotation?
Yeah.
And it's like, okay,
And
whatever.
It's a nice map as well. It's like it's a really cool little map. It reminds me of when they went in and made like all the new free-for-all maps and sort of all the smaller 3v3 map stuff available for free-for-all and stuff like that. Like with the Winter Wonderland, I mean, we are getting like the Black Forest map. I think gets a winter skin as well on it. So it's like the old winter skins do come back as well. And I don't know. It's just
and King's Row, which is actually a really nice map. That's really nice. That is, yeah. Well, King's Row is the best map anyway, but the Christmas redesign of that,
So it's cool to see them like using these event things and doing stuff with them more, right? I like to see content being pushed into where more people can use it, more people can get their hands on it, more people can do things with it, where it's not just locked into that single game mode. Oh, well, this is a capture the flag map. Like, I don't know if
So what happens if I say to you that the next 3 events going into next year are all exactly the same? They just have new skins and items. What's your reaction to that?
Disappointment, to be honest. Yeah, I think it's just...
But you're already disappointed, right?
Yeah,
I am.
I guess. Yeah, I suppose. It's just like, it just feels like there could be more done with it. Like, if this is the model they set out where, okay, well, we're going to just have all these events and that's going to be like what adds spice and impetus to the game, then surely those events should have like huge amounts of momentum going into them. And it feels like they've stepped back from doing that massively. And now the events are just kind of, oh, well, it's just a game mode that you're going to play 3 times, bunch of new skins, bunch of new loot. And most of it is new skins as well. It's not like huge amounts of new emotes and highlight intros, which to me like are way more interesting than skins. I really like that sort of stuff. It lets the characters sort of show their character a lot more, like voice lines, emotes, highlight intros. You can really flesh out the characters, really understand sort of how cool the characters doing cool things, like some of the Widowmaker ones, the Widowmaker mistletoe one, for example. Like that's a really good highlight intro, and I'd love more stuff like that.
And the Diva selfie one and things like that. It's like, wow, these are so cool. Like that, you can see whoever's made that is at the time of their life, and it's like a must-have item. It's like the Arista Christmas one where she's getting the puppy out of the present. It's stuff like that. They're so good. They're really good. But it's just, I don't know. I get worried for Overwatch a lot, and I know I fall down into the trap of just focusing a bit too much on competitive, and then maybe watching the pro level Overwatch, and not really looking at the other aspects. But then, when I look at the other stuff and I look at the events and I look at the traction they gave the game and how everybody got really excited about, oh my god, what is the next event? And then, oh my god, what will the skins be? And everybody's really hyped and they go in and like, wow, what's the Brawl going to be? To have a year, or well, it's been longer than a year really, of the same base events is really bad. It's like really bad. Maybe we'll look forward in the future, or we'll look back in the future and it'll be, that was actually a bad decision by Blizzard to put that much, or not put that much focus onto these events. We don't know what the team are doing. We'll never know. Like, they'll never, ever tell us what they're doing. But when you look at certain features, things like Overwatch League, the way they had to change they changed the particle effect engine, didn't they? So you could change the colors for the teams. Yeah. They had the whole custom team skin thing. They had the replay system recently, all of the observer stuff they had to put in. This takes a lot of time to make. This, in fact, that's probably the most complicated stuff to make. So I wouldn't be surprised that if that really tied the team up. And then when you look at stuff like the replay system, which hopefully we get next year, just for everybody, because if we don't, that'll be a massive travesty. If that's just restricted to Overwatch League, then I'll be like, well, that's really sad.
Yeah.
But I can see a world where it just is restricted to Overwatch League. But hey, whatever. These features take a ton of effort, a ton of time to make. And what does the average player want? Like, does the average player really want to watch back their gameplay? You guys listen to this video. Do you really want to watch back your gameplay? Hopefully you will say, yeah, I do, Sty. But is it really the top of your list? Is it really the top of my list? That's another thing. Is it?
The other question...
I really like it. I mean, hang on. Like, I really like that because it means I can do loads of stuff, for video content and whatever. But what about... Go on.
The other question I want to ask you, like, in terms of, are there too many events? What if there are fewer events, but they were higher effort, basically? What if, you had, say, instead of all the events we have now, it's basically almost like one a month, it's like, well, let's have 5 events, 6 events, and then just really put a lot of effort into making those bigger.
You know what I'd like? The reason why they decided to do real-world events for Overwatch is because the game is supposed to be based in the real world, but in the future. So it makes sense to go, hey, let's have a Christmas event, let's have a... I honestly think not having a Valentine's Day event is a problem. Like, they should have done that because people would have been behind that. Anyway,
I can
all these real-world events... So hang on, all these... Oh, go on.
Just to a Valentine's, like, I can tell you that I know Riot, I think, do their Valentine's stuff, and the Valentine's skins generally are some of the most popular. Like, because it's just a chance for them to, like, oh, here's, the heart skin for so-and-so, and it's like, it's a nice creative exercise where people can sort of get loved up, I suppose. And it'd be really cool.
But yeah, it would be. But I think long-term, it's really predictable. What would be better is if you had a rolling story arc through the game, which updated as time went on. That, to me, would be so much better. If they came out the gates and there was, and they could do this now. They could do this next year. The year starts, and maybe they just say, look, guys, we're not doing these events again. Now, I mean, that's never going to happen because of all the effort they've put into building all this stuff, and they're obviously going to want to reuse that and whatever. But you imagine if the story of Overwatch was dynamically changing. Every few months, something happened. Some mission happened, or some sort of event, or a new map comes in. You could tie the lore into the map. Look at Rialto. Rialto came in with the Retribution event, which had the PvP mission, the PvE mission, sorry. Now, that's a lot of stuff that came in, and we know that took them a lot of time to make. I mean, I even went to Blizzard with all the other influencers, and they were like, look, guys, this took us like a year to make this. It's ridiculous, blah, blah, blah. I'm not saying on that type of level, but imagine if they just brought out the Rialto map, and in the map, something happened where it was like, this is pushing the story forward. Maybe you get to the end of the map, and instead of delivering the payload, or when you deliver the payload, maybe it kills the guy, or alerts the Overwatch or something. Like, I mean, this would have to be completely redesigned from the ground up. But you get what I'm saying. Like, having something which makes you come back to go, okay, where's the story now in Overwatch? Okay, now it's here. Okay, what's going on now? And that's for. I mean, I hate to use Fortnite again as an example, but they have got this little system where every competitive season that comes out, they make the most minuscule change, really, to the game. And it creates a load of hype because people don't know what's happening. I remember they had this thing where cracks were appearing in the sky. And as time went on, they got bigger and bigger. And so people are like, oh my God, what is going on? This is crazy. But you feel like you're in a living world, right?
Yes.
And then I think those cracks turned out to be portals that would be on the map, so you could run through the portal and it'd just teleport you somewhere else. A really basic gameplay feature, right? If you compare that to what happened with the Retribution event, I mean, the Retribution event is so much more complicated. It's unbelievable. But does it have the same sort of impact? Does it make you get as pumped for it,
Yeah, it's the living world idea. I mean, I hate to bring up the heady days of the Sombra ARG, but at least that developed. At least that had like a sense of, stuff. Every so often just things in the maps would change. And suddenly, everyone would go in and say, oh my God, what's happened here? What's happened here? People were really engaged and excited. And I think this idea of like a meta-narrative that hit with every single event would be huge. Would be actually really, really cool to see, where it's just like every event you go in and it's like, oh, well, there's all these little plot lines developing. What's Junkrat and Roadhog up to now? What's Talon up to now? What's Overwatch up to now? What's all these divergent elements up to now? And they can just run all these little plot threads through. All these little plot threads that are left dangling around with Overwatch because they're never bloody used. And I would love it. I would absolutely love that. Like, as someone who actively enjoys the lore of this game, enjoys the idea and the narrative concepts of this game, it would be an incredible thing to do. And it, like you said, it doesn't have to be huge. They could just tweak a little bits and pieces of various maps, just here and there. Just, we'll just change this. We'll just add a dossier here. We'll just change some displays there. And just give little hints of like, Sombra this Christmas is up to this. Just like little things like when they had Sombra and McCree in the bar in the sort of extra Dorado map. I can't even remember what it's called. The Castile? Is it Castile?
Yeah, and it was also featured in one of the comics, I think, in a Christmas comic, right?
Yeah.
The Winston Tracer Christmas comic, I think it was.
Yeah, it's just like a really, really cool way of tying in the lore, tying in the story, and tying in the gameplay elements. That it just gives you something else to come back to these events, rather than hearing, it's just the same event with more skins. It's like, now we know this and this is happening, and now we know this is going on here. And it's an extra way to engage. It's an extra way to enjoy, and it's not even developer heavy either, I suppose.
Well,
that's the cool part.
It's probably a problem where they have to change what they're doing, and we don't know what they're doing, which is another issue I've always had with the game. No roadmap and blah blah blah, which is really annoying because Destiny 2 has got a roadmap, and that's a Blizzard Activision thing. So it's just like whatever. Anyway, moving on. So I want you guys to let me know in the comments below what you think about this. We've had some pretty crazy ideas in this video, but Overwatch events I don't think can remain the same. What's playing in the back of my head is they have said that they're working on something for next year, something pretty, it'll be obvious, Jeff said in the Kotaku interview, when it comes out, where we've been spending our time. What is that? Because if that's just like another Retribution event, nobody cares. If it's like, something, well, they say nobody cares is not true, but it's a one-hit wonder, right? And then it's gone. It doesn't really add to the game. Maybe it could be tournament systems. Maybe it could be whatever. We don't know. Like a guild system. We just don't know, right? Which, again, as I said, is part of the problem, because it leaves us here as people who really like the game staring into the abyss of like, well, we don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
And it makes me really frustrated, honestly.
Well, it's sort of a testament that we've just spent about 20 minutes trying to discuss Winter Wonderland, and we spent most of that just spitballing ideas about how we can improve the event system overall, because there isn't that much more to talk about. Like, you're getting new skins, guys, and you're getting a pretty Blizzard World map that should look really cool. Like, I'm actually really kind of curious to get into that one and see what they're going to do with it, because, like Sty said, the King's Row one is so nice, but there's not a huge amount here, and that's a little bit sad, I suppose.
All right, guys, I've been Stylosa, and you can follow me on @UnitLostGaming.
You can also follow me @1_amongst many.
And we will catch you lovely lot on the next one. Toodaloo.
Toodles.